maybe just going out and speaking, especially if you know that there may be a negative response or caught by surprise or off guard or don't want to hear it, somebody's feeling insecure, that, oh, there's going to be this blowback. Well, maybe you might want to do what some of our clients have let us know. They just, you know what, baby, listen, I came across information online about outstanding personal relationships. What you think about this? They started watching one of our videos, and now that led to an open discussion about some things. Shalom Aleichem, peace. Coach Nazir, one of the co-founders of Outstanding Personal Relationships and co-author of Let's Talk Polygyny Uncensored. Now, I get this question from brothers, so I want to just address it. The question is, how do I tell my wife that I have an interest in polygyny? All right, that's one part. And then another one that kind of goes along with it is, when's a good time to decide to practice polygyny? And like most questions I get, I'm going to let you know there's a blanket answer to a lot of them. All right, a blanket answer, because there's no cookie cutter answers. There's no cookie cutter relationships unless you're cutting cookies or something like that, right? But this is what I mean. The answer is it depends. It depends. Now, there's some principles that we're going to talk about that are timeless. And I plan to have this video pretty short, but I want to get to the point. So first, how do you let her know of your interest? Couple different things, bro. One, women respect honesty. They respect honesty. Many may not have the emotional maturity to accept it at the time, but after processing what you have to tell them, they respect that. All right. That doesn't mean you're going to be liked. That does not mean it's going to be easy. But as a man, demonstrating courage is necessary. Now, understand something. There's an old saying. Where it originated from, I don't know. Probably why it's so old. But the saying says, you know what? People will rather believe a beautiful lie than an ugly truth. They'd rather believe a beautiful lie than an ugly truth. Doesn't matter if you're talking about relationships, if you're talking about governments and politics, if you're talking about raising children, you're talking about societal norms, doesn't matter. People will prefer an ugly lie, a beautiful lie to an ugly truth. Now, what do I mean? Well, an ugly truth is that society in general right now is doing a lot of man shaming. There's this term called toxic masculinity, when masculinity is not toxic to begin with. Matter of fact, healthy masculinity is needed, warranted much more now than ever. So there's no such thing as a toxic masculinity or toxic femininity. Those are just pretty much states of being. So masculinity is what it is, and femininity is what it is. So whether or not somebody's being toxic, that's dealing with their personal behavior as individuals. But we also have these societal and cultural norms right now where being masculine, meaning having aggression, which is a masculine trait, which we celebrate when it comes to the weekend, when it's football season, right? When we're watching thrilling movies and action and adventure and suspense and all this type of stuff, right? These are aggressive things that actually help with our own hormone, testosterone. So with that being said, man shaming happens. So even though I'm sitting with you right now, and as a healthy male, I have 10 times more testosterone than a healthy woman, and I'm supposed to. But my body, just as any post-pubescent male's body, depending upon their age, creates 12 to 1,500 sperm cells pretty much per second. All right? It happens. There's an engine. There's something within us. There's this drive that we have. There's this urge that we have, not to go around and just plug everything. No. But this drive is a motivational drive that helps us want to become more, to build things, to seek the admiration, the love, the trust, the respect of women. That's something in us that they will never understand. I don't care if you're doing something. Hey, mom, look what I did over here. Or I'm going to protect my mother. I remember when my parents had me when they were young. So they were 16. I remember on a bus stop with my mom. I'm like 4 or 5 years old. And some guy was trying to check her out. So that means my mother, she's 20 or 21 years old at the time. And he's trying to check her out. And I stood in front of her, poked out my little chicken chest at the time, was like, trying to mean mug this man. My mother, 20, 21 years old. I have children older than her right now. But I try to stand out as a man to protect my mom, and she didn't need it at all. I needed it more than anything. Okay, so there's something in us, if you will, or there should be something in us. So this effeminate thing that's going on right now, the shame man for aggression and courage, the difference comes in on how that man demonstrates it. So if you're demonstrating aggression and protecting your family or self-defense or target shooting or doing something that provides hunting, for example, these things are normal, natural expressions of you. The more you suppress it, the more that can become problematic. So what does that have to do with polygyny? You're a man. There's something called sex transmutation. If you haven't gotten the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, the original, not the remixes, and the copyright ran out. Now everybody's trying to write Think and Grow Rich 2.0. Don't need a 2.0. Read the old English language from the early 1900s by Napoleon Hill. Read the chapter on sex transmutation, on how this strong energy within us, this desire, this sexual desire for women, when it's transmuted and utilized as something bigger and stronger, how that has developed the world around us and technology and everything else. Learn about that. Learn about this drive. Okay? Because it's far more than just a sexual thing. Yeah, you want to make sure, at least most, want to make sure their line or their lineage or their legacy lives on. And of course, that comes from families and children and so on. You may not want that. You may express that in a certain way with building companies and businesses that, feed and house people or that last for generations or give away wealth and sadaqah, whatever it may be. But understand the difference. There's no need to man shame there because that desire is in us. It is what it is. That aggression, that protection is important and is celebrated, especially since we are Qawamun. We are the ones who are the maintainers, the protectors. We are the ones to put it out there. So with that being said, though, getting back to the original question, how do you deal with it? By demonstrating courage and having the ability to have the conversation.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace.
I am Coach Nazir.
And I'm Coach Fatimah, his wife.
And I am Coach Nyla. I am also his wife.
We are the founders of Outstanding Personal Relationships, as well as the authors of the book,
Let's Talk Polygamy Uncensored.
And I'm sure you're asking yourself, how can you get your hands on a copy of it right now? The great part is, we're about to share that with you, but first, let me tell you about why you need to at least get your hands on one or maybe more copies, depending on where you are in your polygynous journey.
Some of the things that we discuss in our book are issues about trust, insecurities, jealousy among wives, and maybe possibly even creating lasting friendships.
Especially friendships amongst co-wives. And we share in this book how you can understand that it takes a village, that polygyny is not some taboo topic or something that's going to leave women stranded alone and kids not loving each other or feel like they're left alone by their fathers or from their fathers or whatever the case may be. You will learn so much in this book. Let's Talk Polygamy Uncensored.
Indeed, we lay down the practical steps that we wish we would have had when we started our polygynous journey over 13 years ago. Well, the time is here, and all you have to do, go to letstalkpolygamy.com. Order a copy, order the bundle, do whatever it is you need to do so there's no more excuses, and we making marriage great again by reminding people of polygamy, which is an ancient solution to a modern day problem. Let's talk polygamy.com. Get your pre-sale order on. With that being said,
make sure you are growing intentionally,
loving fearlessly,
and connecting on a higher level
every single day.
Visit the link. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.
Peace.
Now, women usually outtalk us about 5,000 to 10,000 words per day. It is what it is. So maybe just going out and speaking, especially if you know that there may be a negative response or caught by surprise or off guard or don't want to hear it, somebody's feeling insecure, that, there's going to be this blowback. Well, maybe you might want to do what some of our clients have let us know. They just, you know what, baby, listen, I came across information online about outstanding personal relationships. What do you think about this? They started watching one of our videos, and now that led to an open discussion about some things. So we were used indirectly as a tool to open up the polygyny discussion. Use that. Do a third party. All right, if you haven't already gotten a copy of our book yet, Let's Talk Polygyny Uncensored. Or pre-order it, because it's not released yet. We're waiting on the ability to get that date. Why not? Have the ability to have the conversation. And if sisters are watching this, ladies are watching this, you should also have the conversation too. Because it's highly likely, man speaking on behalf of other men, that he probably wants to be with more than one woman. Now, whether or not he executes or acts on that, it's totally up to him. But it takes a noble and honorable man to take on another family. And for people to dismiss it simply as, oh, it's just only a sexual thing. It doesn't have to be some altruistic thing where I'm saving this person, I'm doing that. And by doing so, then I have the right to sex with them. We don't need to explain anything. It's something that's already in us. Similarly, I would never understand what it is to have a menstrual cycle. Never understand childbirth, ever. And then women who have multiple children, including my mother and my wives. I mean, it's a whole nother level. I never understand it, and I accept that. There are certain things that come from my culture, being raised up as a black man in America. Other people will never understand. They haven't lived through it. They don't have it in their DNA. So it's almost pointless in explaining the why. We can try. You can try to intellectualize it, but you never really understand internally what that means. But being able to have the conversation and being approachable is very important. So the first thing, have the hard conversation. If you need to write an email out, write a letter out, mail it to yourself, to your home, do that. You need to watch a third-party video of outstanding personal relationships, do that. But do whatever it is you need to do to demonstrate courage. Because by doing so, you'll keep your honesty and directness in play. Now, you might be like me. You know, I was a brand new Muslim over 20 years ago. Didn't know much about Islam. I knew polygyny existed. My wife did too. We knew no one who practiced it. It was the farthest thing from my mind. Well, maybe one of the farthest things from my mind is there. But it was there. But it didn't seem like anything practical where I was gonna, marry somebody else. I didn't know one person who had multiple wives. So that really wasn't a topic of discussion. But as time grew on, as I became a leader and lived life and got more established and so on, then it did. But if you aren't married yet, if you are early in your marriage, if you had these different discussions and everything before, demonstrate courage now. If you're not married, do it beforehand. Have the conversation. Don't wait. Don't make it a surprise. Again, because with that honesty coming out up front, even if the person doesn't like it minimally, they will not lose respect. And that's important to us as men. So how do you do it? I shared it with you. Use what I call third-party tools. Use some videos from us. Get feedback. See what it is. This is not something new. It's not. You might not want to talk about it, but we have videos on that. Videos of the subsequent wife inferiority syndrome. We have the initial wife privilege. You have, well, does he love me more? Does that mean there's something wrong with me? Or all of these type of questions when it comes to polygyny, because they're trying to rationalize and answer for why men prefer to marry multiple women. But if you are a man and you have healthy levels of testosterone, now you may say something like, no, I'm not interested, monogamy is the way, and so on and so forth. And you may be saying that because you're not interested or you don't have the means to do it. So why even talk about it to bring that stress in your life? Because there may be stress in your life, but as the man, you have to be the one to take those shots to be able to address it and handle it. Because it's your job to provide and protect and exert personal power. Not simply providing physical things, not simply protecting against external things, but to provide the guidance, but to also provide the comfort, but to provide the companionship, provide reassurance. All of these things fall up under that. But I'm not going to go into whole training on 3 Ps. I've done that before. But I already went over what I intended to go over time-wise. So with that being said, prayerfully that helps you out when and how to speak about it. Now, when to marry, listen, when you are able to demonstrate courage, when you already have your measurables in order, where you can manage the time and the money, it doesn't matter if it's 5 years after. I remember brother told me, listen, if you plan on practicing polygyny, you should marry within the first 5 years. I'm like, man, look, I need to be doing 5 figures a month before I do anything like that, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, you should marry within the first 5 years because, your wife's still knowing you, you're still new in the marriage, your children are very young. That was some good advice. Another brother was like, you know what, maybe have 10 years solid, let your wife, benefit and, experience those 10 years with just you before you add another. I said, there's no cookie cutter. It all depends. I had one guy say, you know what, hey, look, I'm not married yet. I'm going to graduate school and do this, and then I want to get married. How soon should I get another wife? I'm like, bro, slow down. First of all, pump your brakes. Get good in monogamy first. Experience your relationship. Develop that love and that joy. Develop that leadership. Understand the different dynamics that you're going to have to deal with when living with a woman to begin with, right? Get that part down first. Help build your relationship, but make sure you're honest. Because if you already know and you're single, have that conversation up front. The sooner, the better. So with that being said, again, prayerfully, you got some good information. Make sure you are subscribed, because half the people that watch our videos are not subscribed. Go ahead and subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. If you like the video, like it. You dislike it, hey, just like it too. But with that being said, I appreciate you. I'm Coach Nazir, coach that helps people get their shift together. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.